The news from Guyana, the region and the world. Compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom and powered by demerarawaves.com.
With the news at this time, I am Deanna Jordan. Very good day to you. To begin the news, here's a look at the leads. The Alliance for Change is to lodge international complaints of abuse of women against Government Minister Nigel Darmlal. Anti-drug agents believe that there is a large quantity of cocaine with one brand in Guyana. On the regional scene, a group of men arrested allegedly with a large number of weapons in Suriname near the border with Guyana can now talk with their lawyers. For the international news, we'll bring to you the latest bulletin from the BBC World Service. The details will be coming up in just a moment.
Want value for your money? Of course you do. So what you want is News Talk Radio Guyana 103.1 FM for best value, wide coverage and streaming online worldwide on them waves. Call our helpful staff today on 223-1056 or 223-1041 for low rates. Advertise with us. 103.1 FM. Accurate information blended with great music.
And now the news in detail. The Alliance for Change, AFC, says it will be complaining to the United Nations Committee for the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women about Minister of Local Government Nigel Darmlal's behavior towards women. A woman has publicly accused Mr. Darmlal of communicating his sexual desires for her, including an image and voice, with her via Facebook Messenger. Her mother has since expressed outrage against the cabinet member. The AFC's women's arm made its position known one day after President Irfan Ali said those who are offended by Mr. Darmlal should make a report to the police.
If someone has an allegation against somebody, in whatever shape and form, they have to report those allegations. They have to report those allegations because the minister would have said to me that his phone was lost, and he also has some allegations of his own that he's making in terms of the totality of the conversation that took place. I am not going to be the judge of that on any side. But if there is an allegation, there is a place in which those allegations has to be made.
Meaning the police?
That is where allegations are reported.
Mr. Darmlal did not respond to WhatsApp requests for comment. The Women for Change says it also intends to bring the allegations against Mr. Darmlal to the attention of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The WFC says when taken together with his comment in the National Assembly about a dildo, the allegation that he preyed on an overseas-based Guyanese, and his post against two female judges, and his general approach indicates contempt for women. WFC tells the president that he needs to launch a full and impartial investigation into the conduct of Mr. Darmlal and make the findings public. The People's National Congress reform is today expected to decide on who will fill the second vacant opposition seat in the National Assembly. Dr. Nicolette Henry's resignation takes effect from today, and already Mr. Joseph Harmon has vacated his seat for March 15th. So far, the PNCR has decided that its leader, Aubrey Norton, will replace Dr. Henry. He is tipped to emerge as Guyana's new opposition leader. Party sources say that the representative of the list, David Granger, is awaiting the name of Mr. Harmon's replacement from the PNCR. After he gets the second name, the sources say he will write the Chief Elections Officer and the Chief Elections Officer of the Guyana Elections Commission, informing him of the names to be extracted from the list of candidates. The Chief Elections Officer will then inform the National Assembly, and the new persons will be sworn in as parliamentarians for a Partnership for National Unity plus Alliance for Change. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit, KANU, says cocaine allegedly seized during two separate busts are of the same brand. Head of KANU, James Singh, says agents are working on the theory that there is a large quantity of this brand of the narcotic in Guyana. He says so far there is no connection between the 5 persons who were arrested in Prashad Nagar, Georgetown on Tuesday, and the 3 others who were arrested on Wednesday at Tushan East Bank, Essequibo. The 8 persons, including 3 elderly persons, are due to appear in court today. The 5 persons have been arrested in connection with the alleged discovery of more than 11 kilograms of cocaine and 266 grams of ecstasy. The total value is more than 12 million Guyana dollars. Those arrested in a house at Shantiniketan Street, Prashad Nagar, Georgetown, are 62-year-old Lena Narain, also known as Auntie Lena, 60-year-old James Herbert, 71-year-old K. Jennifer Butcher, 27-year-old Jamal Narain, also known as Tunks, and 47-year-old Gregory Faria, who is Surinamese. Also expected to appear in court today are minibus driver 31-year-old Akim Bromel, 46-year-old Gary Tony, and 28-year-old Olitan Sobas. KANU says the men were intercepted in a Route 32 bus in which more than 11 kilograms of cocaine worth more than 12 million Guyana dollars were found. The agents say a pistol and 8 matching rounds were also found in the vehicle. The Damarara Harbour Bridge is set to introduce an automated tolling system from today. General Manager of the Harbour Bridge, Wayne Watson, expects that the new automated tolling system will ease traffic congestion on that east-to-west corridor. He says the pilot testing phase of the system, which started in February this year with a few select vehicles, went well. The Harbour Bridge General Manager says commuters will only need to pay their toll via a radio frequency identification RFID tag, which will be placed on the front of their vehicle and on their mobile phone. According to him, bridge commuters will be registered to a database and they will need to have funds in their mobile money account. The magnetic RFID tag will go on the vehicle, and when that vehicle approaches the toll station on the eastern end of the bridge, the system's sensors will identify the commuter's vehicle using the tag, and the toll will be deducted automatically. He noted that with the system, different tags will be created for different vehicles, whether cars, trucks, or vans. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken says he is pleased that the double-lane west-to-east traffic from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. is working effectively. The traffic chief says more police will be deployed along the East Bank Demerara to assess the traffic situation and take decisions to ease congestion. The police force says more traffic cones will be placed at strategic points on the road to aid in the free flow of traffic. And now for the regional news. 8 persons who have been arrested for allegedly being in possession of several weapons have now been given the go-ahead to meet with their lawyers. Star News reports that the men were held at South Ray Nakeri, which is located across the Quarantine River from Molson Creek in Guyana. A lawyer for one of the accused men says his client has nothing to do with the weapons that were found and that he was in a completely different location from where the weapons were found. The weapons include 4 AKs, 4 AR-15s, a Glock pistol, a shotgun, and ammunition. The suspects also had a satellite phone with them. Star News learns that the men transported the weapons from Paramaribo. It is believed that the weapons were stolen at the residence of ex-President Desi Bouterse. Barbados is examining the possibility of establishing an auxiliary or reserve arm of the police service there. Attorney General Dale Marshall has suggested that this is one way that the police service can deal with shortage of policemen and women. The police service has a vacancy for 278 persons. The service is legally authorized to have 1,530 officers. Barbados Today reports that Mr. Marshall says the Police Act makes provisions for the Special Constabulary to perform aspects of policing. However, the Attorney General said he has been advised that due to various factors, alternative arrangements were made in the 1990s, not in keeping with the legislation, resulting in the police service not having a credible auxiliary. Mr. Marshall said he has also been told that a significant number of applicants are burdened by requirements that disqualify them from police service. He noted that the best qualified candidates prefer to seek employment elsewhere, particularly in the private sector. Approximately 13 staff at the state-owned Antigua and Barbuda Broadcasting Services, ABS, staged a protest outside the company's headquarters on Wednesday. Shop steward Carrier Adams told Observer they are dissatisfied with the decision they claim was taken by Attorney General Steadroy Benjamin to mount an appeal to remove the panel of judges who are presiding over their industrial case against the management of ABS. The matter in question is seeking to address issues of outstanding overtime and holiday payments, which purportedly dates back to 2015. Adams said industrial action by staff will continue until the appeal to remove the panel of judges is reversed. The workers are being represented by Ralph Potter of the Antigua Trades and Labor Union. Observer Media was unable to reach Mr. Potter for a comment. When contacted, Benjamin referred the Observer to lawyers in his chambers, who he said had been responsible for that court matter. International Criminal Court ICC prosecutor Karim Khan, appearing on Venezuelan state television on a visit to Caracas on Thursday, said the court will open an office there. Khan, who was accompanied by President Nicolas Maduro, said his 3-day visit to the South American country had been fruitful. Khan last visited in November when he said he would open an investigation into possible crimes against humanity in Venezuela, which is in the midst of a long-running social and economic crisis. And now the latest world news from the BBC World Service.
Hello, this is Julie Candler with the BBC News. Firefighters in western Russia are trying to put out a blaze at an oil depot in Belgorod, which Moscow says was hit this morning by missiles fired from Ukrainian helicopters. Verified footage from the depot shows 2 low-flying helicopters releasing missiles, followed by huge explosions. The Kremlin spokesman said the attack could not be described as conducive to continued talks. Our correspondent in Moscow, Jenny Hill, said the Russian response so far has been surprisingly low-key.
It is interesting that the language has been muted. Now, I wouldn't draw the conclusion from that the Russians are thinking, let's keep our response down for now so that the negotiations can continue. There is also a school of thought that, having boasted that the Russians have achieved air superiority over Ukraine, if it's proven that this was a successful attack on Russian territory by Ukrainian military helicopters, that might prove to be rather a humiliating development.
Ukraine's defense ministry would neither confirm nor deny it was behind the attack. President Zelensky's top advisor says the Russian army is failing to encircle a large group of elite Ukrainian troops in the Donbass. Russia has said it's now focusing on this region along with parts of the south. But Alexei Arestovich says so far the Russians have been resorting to missile, artillery and airstrikes with no ground offensive. The head of the UN nuclear watchdog says he's gained permission for his agency's staff to be on site at nuclear facilities in Ukraine. Rafael Grossi was speaking after a trip to Ukraine and Russia. Speaking to reporters in Vienna, he said he planned to lead a mission to the Chernobyl nuclear plant very soon.
This is undoubtedly a step in the right direction. We had been saying that the plant needed to be operated by its own natural operators, that it had to have physical integrity protected, that the people there had to work under normal circumstances.
The Chernobyl plant was occupied by Russia on the first day of its invasion. The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, has said that China would suffer major reputational damage if it helped Russia evade international sanctions. She was speaking after an online summit with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
An overwhelming majority of UN members stand united in condemning Russia's aggression against Ukraine. There must be respect for international law, as well as for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and therefore China, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, has a very special responsibility.
Mr. Xi said China and Europe should together provide stability in a volatile world, but appear to offer no new proposals to help end the war. World News from the BBC. Pope Francis has apologised to Canadian Indigenous leaders for the Church's role in residential schools where large numbers of children were abused or died. Speaking after talks in the Vatican, the Pope said he was pained by the deplorable behaviour of some Roman Catholics. He requested forgiveness. A government-backed commission in Canada found that the school system, which lasted for more than 150 years until the end of the last century, amounted to cultural genocide. For the first time in months, a United Nations convoy in Ethiopia carrying desperately needed food aid has entered territory controlled by Tigrayan rebel forces. Kalkidanya Baltal reports.
8 trucks carrying 500 tons of food and other nutritional supplies have crossed to areas controlled by Tigrayan forces and are expected to arrive in the regional capital Mekelle. A senior official of the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, the TPLF, the group at war with the government for 17 months, has called the move a step in the right direction. The government, in an earlier statement, had said that it was committed to facilitate the safe passage of aid. The food aid is expected to be distributed to families left on the brink of famine by the civil war.
The US economy created more than 430,000 additional jobs last month as it continued its rebound from the coronavirus pandemic. It's the 15th month in a row of jobs growth. The US has now regained nearly all the jobs lost since the pandemic hit. Bars, restaurants and hotels were among the businesses leading the hiring. The draw for the Football World Cup is due to take place shortly in the Qatari capital Doha. The tournament, the first to be held in the Middle East, has been dogged by allegations of corruption and human rights abuses in Qatar. The hosts, Qatar, are among the top seeds, despite being the second lowest ranked nation. BBC News.
And now, here's a recap of the leads. The Alliance for Change is to lodge international complaints of abuse of women against Government Minister Nigel Darmlal. Anti-drug agents believe that there is a large quantity of cocaine with one brand in Guyana. Regionally, a group of men arrested allegedly with a large number of weapons in Suriname near the border with Guyana can now talk with their lawyers. And that's the news at the moment.
This has been the news, compiled in the News Talk Radio newsroom. For ongoing updates, visit demerarawaves.com, and you can check facebook.com/demwaves and twitter.com/demwaves.